Hey guys, welcome to another RodaTalks. My name is Renan, and you guys are used to have interviews here in this episodes, but today we're gonna do a little bit different. I'm here with Carl from Axel Leaps. You guys may know him from Instagram, and we're gonna talk about Brazil and US, like a retrospective of this amazing year that we had. Hi, Carl.
Hey,
How's it
how's it
going?
going?
I'm doing fine, better now.
That's good. I'm happy this worked out. We have been trying this for a long time.
Exactly. Well, like finally, we're here, right?
Yes,
And
I'm excited to
we
talk.
have some very good news. Like this year was amazing, and for who doesn't know, like Carl has been to the U.S. Championships and also the U.S. trials, Olympic trials, and Paris Olympics. So he's got like plenty to talk about. You saw like all this history happening, right?
Yeah, I feel very lucky that of all of the years I could see so much gymnastics, it was this year. It was great to see the US do so well. It was great to see Brazil do so well because for years Brazil has had the opportunity. So I'm happy it happened. And so, yes. And I actually ran into the Brazil women's team in Paris. So that's a story I can tell you as well.
That's amazing. That's amazing. For
Yeah,
like
everywhere I go, I find the Brazil team and I just run into each other. So I think it's funny how that happens.
yeah, like as we were talking earlier before we started recording, we had for the first time ever three American teams sharing the podium, the team podium during the quad. We had in 2022 the US with gold, Canada with bronze,
Hmm.
2023 US with gold, Brazil with silver, and now 2024 US gold, Brazil bronze. And I followed gymnastics for some time. The first Olympics that I watched was Athens, so 20 years ago, and it's pretty different. And I would say it's satisfactory to see this change, because
Yeah,
for some time we had only the G4, US, Russia, Romania, and China uh, sharing the podium. It was always them, and like no matter the position, sometimes China on the top, sometimes Russia on the top, US most of the times at the top, Romania also in the top in 2004. Now we have bigger variety of teams,
yeah.
and we have for the first time three American teams like in these places. It was really good to see it.
Yeah, I agree. Every person in my life who I talk to about gymnastics have said such good things about this Olympic quad because we have obviously Canada, United States, Brazil representing, North and South America. We have France that made the podium in 2023 and that hasn't happened in I think 50 some years or something like that. I can't remember. And yeah, there was a lot of and Italy at Paris, they were not on the podium for I think it was like 100 years. And so this was fun to see countries outside of like the top three or four make a podium. That was really, really fun to see.
Yeah, exactly. And Romania also, I love Romanians. I
Yeah.
love the Romanian gymnastics, and they were going through some really bad times. Like in Brazil, between amongst gymnastics fans, we have this slang like dark times.
Yes. Yes.
And Romania was going through their dark times for these past two quads. The last big win was the 2014 European Championships, and after that was just downhill. I
Yeah.
was really happy that they managed to qualify a team to Worlds last year, 2023, and then at
Yeah.
Worlds they managed to qualify a team to the Olympics, and they
Yeah.
made it to the team finals as well,
I
which
know.
was
I was,
super
yeah.
nice.
So nice. People talk about, who wins, who's the top three all of the time. And I try on my Instagram, I talk all the time in comments about how amazing it is to make an Olympics or make an Olympic final, even if you get eighth out of, eight. making an Olympic final is something that people dream about, and I was so happy to see Romania in team finals.
Yeah, same for me. And this year was marked by also a lot of wins and losses, I would say, especially for Brazil and US in this little perspective that we're gonna approach here. A lot of gymnasts have gotten injured.
Yes.
So it was really heartbreaking to see everything going on. I don't know if you know about it, but recently, Judge Barbosa, she has taken surgery for the fourth time because of ACL tear.
I saw that. And you and I have talked, and I've talked to some other people down in Brazil about the history of injuries for you guys, for your country, your gymnasts. And when I saw Jaji post that, I was like, it's just hard. It's hard to see, especially someone who's been in the sport for so long. So it's good to see that she was planning to continue after her surgery, which is amazing.
Yeah, and like she competed with Shawn Johnson, she competed with Nastia Liukin in 2007, and she's still in the business.
I know. When I met her at World Championships last year in 2023, which was like the coolest opportunity, I got to speak with her for 35 minutes, and she told me so many stories about Shawn Johnson, Nastia Liukin, the 2010 Rotterdam Worlds, and yeah, it was really fun. It's crazy to hear how long she's been going, which I think is incredible.
Yeah, and Jaji, she is the best person ever to talk with because I also had a chance to talk with her in January this year because I've been invited to one of their training sessions, and she just approached us and started talking like she knew me for like 10 years, you know.
Which is nice.
We talked for like 1 hour ish, and she approached pretty much like every subject. She's super approachable, and she likes to talk. She likes to speak to people, and it's super nice. Like, I was really impressed when I met her in person. Honestly.
Yeah, that does not surprise me. Because when her and it was Julia Lohani, Arthur, it was most of the 2023 team. They walked right in front of me in the men's all around when they were watching Diogo compete, and I just said, "Hey, congratulations for your team medal yesterday," because it was the day after women's team finals. And she just kept talking, and because I respect people's time, they're training all day, but she just kept talking. So I'm not surprised to hear that from you as well.
That's the feeling. She just keeps talking, and oh my god, like she's been here for 40 minutes already.
Yeah.
And she keeps talking like it's amazing. It's really nice.
Yeah, super kind.
And she intends to come back next year. Honestly, I don't know what's her plan or so, but she's just like a titan here in Brazil. So I wouldn't doubt that she is coming back. But we also have a lot of new girls going senior in this next years that can also make a very strong team.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's see what happens.
Yes. Where would you like to start in 2024 as we look back on such a historic year for both of our countries, I would say?
Let's start from the beginning, I would say. We had the American Classic. It was the first nationals that you guys had this year, but it wasn't that big, I would say. But we had Gabby Douglas coming back.
Yep.
And it was a very anticipated comeback. Unfortunately, it didn't work as much as she was planning. But as for me, I think, my opinion, that it was pretty much a question of stamina, because the skills were there. The skills are there, actually.
Yeah.
And it's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, watching her release skills on the uneven bars, it's like crazy how high she gets, how much power she has. You know, back in 2012, they called her the flying squirrel because her releases were so high. And yeah, I agree. I think stamina, I think pressure is a lot, you know, even going forward now that, you know, Rebecca is signed on for 4 more years for Brazil. You know, Rebecca's expectations are going to be so high. And then going back to Gabby being an Olympic all-around champion from 12 years ago, I think people put her in that position again, expecting her to be at that level again. And I don't think people realize how difficult gymnastics is and how mental it is. And if the whole world is watching and waiting for you, like how much that could impact your performance as well. So I think stamina, and I think just the world putting so much pressure on her probably didn't work out so well for her, in my opinion.
Yeah, I also think so. Like, I think she was supposed to compete in Winter Cup, right?
Yeah, she got COVID.
She got COVID, right? And then
Yeah,
she left Wolga, and then she came back to Wolga again.
yeah,
It was some sort of a drama.
yeah. And I don't know. I've heard rumors through some people that since I started my account, some people share things with me. I heard rumors, but I never heard like a real reason. So yeah, it is curious. Wolga has a long history of good and bad things, and I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, she was supposed to do Winter Cup, got COVID, then she did Core Classic. She was supposed to do all around, and then she did uneven bars, and that was it. And then she got an injury to her ankle, and that was kind of the end of her season.
Yeah, that was super sad, but I am happy that she said that she's gonna run for 2028 because she showed that level of skills
Hmm.
within such a short range of time.
Yeah.
And I think that if she has 4 years, more 4 years to prepare herself, to have that goal in mind, like I am gonna go back to the competitive scenario and mentally preparing herself, I think she is going to give a run for the other girls' monies, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, she's an Olympic all-around champion, and I think people forget that in the 2016 Olympics down in Brazil, I think people forget that she qualified third into the all-around, but she was two per countryed out because of Simone Biles and Ali Raisman. I think people forget just how great she is because people look at her in Rio, the Rio Olympics and say, oh, all she did was uneven bars in team final. And it's like, yeah, but she she was third in the entire Olympics to qualify, but the rule cut her out. I think people really forget how dominant she was. And in the 2015 World Championships, she was the silver all-around medalist behind Simone Biles, which is, I mean, basically first if you think about it. So
Yes,
I think people forget just how powerful she is, and whatever she decides, I'll be there rooting for her. You know.
yes, Sam, I really like her. And this 2015 Worlds, she got this silver medal, and
Mhm.
just a few months after coming back, it was
Yeah,
like insane,
I
honestly.
know. Well, and speaking of all around Olympic champions coming back after only a short amount of time, you and I first started talking earlier this year, and I and I told you, I said people are not thinking about Sunisa Lee being in the all around, conversation at the Olympics because of where she started in 2024. And Sunisa Lee, I mean, I don't know if you remember, but I told you, I said, I think she's going to get the bronze, and people aren't even thinking about it because she just started training again. And that's what happened because if you're an Olympic champion, I think people forget how powerful you are.
Yeah, and Sunisa also, she just had a very strong comeback story.
Yes.
She is dealing still with kidney diseases, right? I
Yeah.
think she actually, I'm not into the details, but I know that she had more than once uh, episode with her kidneys, and this is very noticeable and commendable that she managed to put everything back together and perform like that at the Olympics. Wow.
Yeah, and I have a lot I want to say in this conversation about Sunisa because her not only was her comeback amazing and her physical ability was amazing, but her and her coach, who I actually flew on the same plane back from Paris, so I talked to him for a little bit actually. Um, um, their strategy with the rules that USA Gymnastics puts in place about how you qualify to each competition, their strategy was fantastic. So like not only was her comeback physically really strong, but her and her coach had a really strong strategy and they paced her. When I say paced her, I mean she only did certain skills slowly until she had to do all of her skills. Because like what she competed at championships was less than she competed at the Olympic trials, which was less than she competed at Paris. So she slowly worked her way up, which I think is brilliant. She didn't burn out, which is great.
And I don't know, like I feel that these type of strategies have become more popular
Mm-hmm.
after we had Rebecca,
Yeah,
because she just proved that if you pace well, you can you can arrive at the biggest stage, at the biggest, at the most important moment, better, right?
yeah.
Because since I started following the US gymnastics and American gymnastics in general, my perspective is that in this quad, I saw for the first time this cultural switch because Suni she only competed a beam in the first meet that she came back, and then she competed bars, and then I think she only did all around in Olympic trials, right?
She did all around at championships. Um,
Okay.
yep, that was the first all around that she did this year.
And she came to the Olympics with an upgrade, which is not a any upgrade in floor. The Chusovitna, the
Yeah,
foot thing. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest, because she
no,
is
wasn't either.
super good with the syllabus, and I was expecting something like a syllabus, but the Chusovitna, I was like, wow, and she stuck it.
I know. Yeah, when she came into Olympic trials with a brand new floor routine. So, okay, let me back up. US Championships was early June, and then by the end of June at the Olympic trials, she had new music, upgrade skills, and like a different choreography. So yeah, it's incredible what her and her coach did with pacing, with making sure like she's healthy the whole time. And I will say I agree with now that Rebecca has gotten so much spotlight around the world. A lot of podcasts in the United States, one being Gymcastic, the one of the biggest gymnastics podcasts in the world, they even mentioned Rebecca's training style and how her and her coaches do it, which I think is smart. Don't burn your athlete out.
I remember in 2022, when she competed nationals in Brazil, she only did a that full twisting frontwards, and then instead of pull in connected, she just did a layout.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of people in the US. Oh, she isn't ready. She isn't going to be in the same level for Worlds and everything because it was just a few weeks before Worlds, right? And she just became the world all-around champion.
I know. Well,
So
that's the thing, I mean, if you and that's something I would love to talk to you about, like in a lot myself and a lot of people from Brazil who follow me on my Instagram during Olympic trials when we have Sky Blakely getting injured, Kayla DiCello getting injured, Shilese Jones getting injured. A lot of people reach out and ask me like, why are they doing all of their skills. And it's interesting because in the United States, we have so many athletes that we can send to an Olympics, which is amazing. But the downside is that means all of those athletes have to show all their difficulty just to qualify. And other countries where they know like who their team is, they can pace them a lot better. So it's very different. And I think people from the United States who say those things about Rebecca and her training, I think they're so used to seeing the United States girls competing at like full difficulty and not understanding that people like Rebecca who are going to get sent don't have to do that so she can save her body.
We are used to see Rebecca watering down routines just for nationals. Flavia doing the same, Julia as well.
Yep.
And anyways, like for us, it's normal because we don't have that many gymnasts to send. So we pretty much knew which team would be the Olympic team. We had one or two names that could potentially go, but the core team was pretty much like the world's team from last year. So there was absolutely no surprise, honestly. And in Brazil, we also had a few injuries this year, like Jade, as we just commented. But after the Olympics, we also had Andresa, which is a newcomer in Brazil. She tore her Achilles in the same competition that Ana Luisa Lima. I don't know if you're up to date with her, but she is a gymnast that was super, super, super hyped in Brazil back 2019 when she just stuck. Dos Santos won the Junior Worlds back in Hungary, and after that was injury after injury after injury, and she's never been able to really come back, and it's super sad to see that. But well, it is really sad. Yeah. And about the American girls, the one that really hurt me more was Charlize Jones, of course, because she was in the top of her game. And also Kayla DiCello. I really like Kayla.
Yeah. And she's, Kayla, she was really hungry for it. And she trained all year, like really, really hard. And you could see that too from Winter Cup. She was training a lot of difficulty, which you don't have to at Winter Cup, at least in the United States. And then the Core Classic, she was training a ton of difficulty. And then she looked incredible at US Championships. I got to meet her and just talk with her for a little bit, and she was super nice. And the only error she had was she fell on uneven bars, but she still placed third all around. And her first vault at the Olympic trials, she went down. And I remember I was filming it, and I just couldn't believe what happened, because 10 minutes before that, Charlize Jones warmed up her vault and went down. And then 10 minutes later, first vault of the US Olympic trials, she gets injured. It was hard. That was a really hard competition to be there in person, because you could see the athletes were like panicking because everyone around them was getting injured.
Yeah, and a very famous take was right after DiCello had her injury.
Yeah.
Suni was watching, and then she just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
She was just next, right? And I was like, okay, what is going through their minds right now?
I know.
It must have been like a roller coaster.
Yeah. No, and when I saw Charlize Jones do her uneven bars routine, and she only took one skill out, everything else was there. I mean, I got chills because, Charlize Jones, I don't know how much you know about her before this quad, but she's been really consistent the last quad, and the United States could have taken one more replacement athlete to Tokyo, and that would have been Charlize Jones, but USA Gymnastics did not take her. And I know she had a lot of feelings about that. She posted on social media back in 2021. But then since then, she's become like one of our strongest gymnasts in the United States. And it was really heartbreaking. I tell people all the time, I'm still not over Charlize Jones not going to the Paris Olympics.
Yes, and like I think she has one of the best uh, art arcs for this quad because she
Yeah.
just came from being, as you said, relegated by
Yeah.
USA Gym to being their main name
Yeah.
in the following year because she I don't know, like it must have been so hard for her mentally to go from like, okay, they're just like relegating me, and now I'm their best hope.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and she just did her job. She I don't know, like a lot of people might not like her, but I, I just appreciate and I admire her professionalism. She when she's competing, she is there, and she I don't know, she's just um, what's the term like work ethics is
Yeah.
really impressive. I don't know, I really like Shiley's.
Me too. And she's yeah, and she lost her dad around the Tokyo Olympics, and so
Yes,
it's been a it's just been a tough couple years, but for her, and she's going for 2028, and whatever path her coach is amazing too. I don't know her coach personally, but her coach is such an advocate for athletes. And when cameras were in Charlize Jones' face after her injury, her coach like pushed the cameras away, and I respect that a lot because in that moment it's not about the audience, it's not about us as fans, it's about her as a person and making sure she's okay. It's and so I really appreciate that. So whatever her and her coach come up with, I'm excited to see her path to hopefully her first Olympic Games in 4 years.
and I'm also very happy that she is back training her uh, possibly eponymous skill, I Stalder Nabieva on
Yeah,
kneeling bars,
yeah,
because she in the past she trained the mutak with 1.5 twists, which is now the Heron.
yep,
Uh,
yep,
was it got named after Panama's Hile Heron, but
yeah,
Rebecca also trained that back in 2015. She submitted during the 2016 Olympics. Jocelyn Robertson came after that as
yep.
well, training. And that was kind of a phantom skill.
I know.
A lot of people training, but nobody actually getting it named after it.
Yeah, and
And
Charlize Jones too. Charlize Jones like all yeah, it was so many gymnasts, which I think is cool that it's finally named.
exactly. A lot of people don't know about it, but the first one that we have, at least in Brazil, we have records of, was Merle de Jesus. He competed
Oh,
at the 2004 World Cup in Rio de Janeiro, but back then it wasn't an event that you could get a new skill named after. And after her, we had Rebecca 2015, and after Rebecca, we had Shiley's, and Shiley's also uh, just learned the syllabus, and it was
yeah.
uh, 1/10 more, so it didn't make sense to continue with that eponymous skill. And Jocelyn Robertson, and then now it's Hilary Erons finally. So um, some sort of 20 years after, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
anyways, but I'm happy that she is still keeping the Stolder Nabieva. She possibly she's gonna get it named after her. She also tried the triple L spin. I
Yeah.
think the last year's worlds, but it didn't get credit. Anyway, sad,
I know.
but I'm excited to see what Charlize Jones has in store for us in
Me
the
too.
next years.
And she's always been quiet on social media with what she's actually competing until it's close to competition, which is nice because I think that keeps pressure off when people aren't waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting to see, because when some gymnasts post a ton of gymnastics content, then when the competition comes, people are really excited for all these things. And I feel like Shiley's is good about staying focused on her gymnastics, doing her job, and and then showing up to the competition ready, which I think is a good strategy. Because even in 2023 Worlds, if Shiley's Jones did not have that like trip on the floor on the floor during all around, she might have been silver. I don't know how her because her score was really low on floor. I mean, she's really, really good. I think people forget how good she is because she's up there with like the best. So,
and she qualified in front of Rebecca.
Yeah,
because all around.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for you. I would love to hear your perspective on. So we have 2018 Worlds where Brazil had a chance to win a team medal, and then uneven bars happened, and they fell and they were out. And then 2019 Worlds, there was injuries, and then did not qualify a team to Tokyo. And then the year after Tokyo, you have Brazil getting fourth, and then the year after that, Brazil getting second in team, and then finally at these Olympics, they finally get their team medal. So for you, as someone who is from Brazil, who obviously loves the Brazil team, like how does this year feel for you after so many years of coming so close?
Being a Brazil gymnastics fan is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. But I would like to bring it even before that.
Yeah.
For example, we had 2007 where Jade Barbosa, she got our first all-around bronze medal.
Yeah, with a fall even. I mean, that's amazing.
With a fall, yes. And we had a lot of perspective going to the Beijing Olympics. We finally had a competitive team to compete at the Olympics, but it didn't work out. Jade, she was very injured, and after Beijing, we have what we call our dark times.
Yeah.
And it was really the level of gymnastics like dropped a lot, and we qualified to the 2012 Olympics, but we didn't have a very competitive team back then. Jade, she was the 2010 bronze medalist on vault as well. She came back even with those very, very serious fist injuries. She managed to get us a bronze medal, but because of contractual issues, she was cut off from the 2012 Olympic team. And we had to count with a gymnast that flew to London. I think it was after podium training.
Oh.
If it wasn't after podium training, it was like the podium training was about to happen, because we lost Laís Souza, right? Yeah. We also lost Laís Souza. She was doing a comeback, and she traveled to London, and she got injured in London, and we had to count with Arumi de Freitas. She was our gymnast representing Brazil at the 2010 Youth Olympic Games. She did only beam. It wasn't good, but Brazil was. It was very hard to watch our team. The girls were like fighters under those circumstances, but it was very emotional for us to get to that Olympics, but we knew we could do much more, and this feeling is just terrible. And leading up to that, we had the Rio 2016, and then finally we had our best team ever. We had Flavia. Actually, let's come back 1 year, 2015. We had Flavia, we had Rebecca. Flavia had just won a lot of medals at the Youth Olympic Games 2014.
Yeah.
And she wasn't supposed to be there, by the way. It was supposed to be Rebecca, but she injured her toe.
Yeah.
And then Flavia substituted her in this Olympic Games, and she did amazingly. In 2015, Rebecca got her ACL injury, the first one. And we thought that she wasn't going to make it to the Olympics in 2016. but she made it. And in 2015, we lost our Olympic berth for just a few tenths in the World Championships. We lost to the Netherlands. Anyways, 2016, there was the test event. We managed to qualify. And after that, we had a lot of injuries going on as well. Ended up like not qualifying a team to Tokyo. It was a bummer for us. And Rebecca, she won her medals. And I think that was the fuel that we needed, right, to relieve our gymnastics. Because I actually talked to you in private on Instagram that for this Tokyo quad, it was unacceptable that we didn't qualify a team. It was unacceptable because we had so many amazing gymnasts becoming seniors in that quad, and they were simply relegated. They weren't invited to the training camps. They were getting injured and just being left aside. And we lost so many talents during that quad. It was really unacceptable. But having Rebecca winning her medals in Tokyo just gave the fuel that I think our gymnastics needed. And they were like, okay, so if we actually pay attention to them, if we change our approach towards their training, we can make that happen. So we had 2022 Worlds, the first one that you actually mentioned, and we lost Flavia there.
Yep, I know.
And it was like, oh, damn, again, all that nightmare. And I don't know if we didn't have a fall, we might have had that bronze medal.
Yeah, it
was super close. It was super close. And we had both Rebecca falling off beam and Julia falling off beam as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I'm not putting the blame on anyone. It's far from me, but it's just that one less fall could have qualified this in Liverpool, you know?
Yeah.
We also didn't have Jade Barbosa competing for us, and we counted with 2 full twist Yuchenkos. It was like, okay, it wasn't supposed to happen right now. And finally, we had 2023 Antwerp, and everything just worked perfectly. It's just like, oh my God, is it really happening?
I know. And it was like, as someone who was lucky enough to be there, it was like I was by vault, and it was like all United States and Brazil fans by the vault, and it was like a hurricane. Everyone was screaming the entire time, like not just like at the end, like the entire time, because everything just fell into place for Brazil, especially the United States. That was kind of rough. I know that the U.S. won, but that was a rough start. But where for Brazil, it was like routine after routine after routine. I know Julia fell on balance beam, I think, if I remember correctly, but it's fine. It's a team final. There's going to be something going on, but it was amazing. Like everything worked out.
Yes. And 2018, you also mentioned that Worlds. It was, I don't know, like, I don't think anybody was expecting a team medal, but once we saw that we could make it happen, I think everybody just freaked out, honestly, and including the girls. I remembered Jade, she gave an interview after the team finals, and she said, like, well, this is an important learning for us because now we know that we can make it happen. Because it's just like, I don't know, in Brazil, we always felt that we had this flag punishment, let's say like that, you know?
Yeah.
Even though we had good routines, the routines were not scored properly. We would get less points than someone from a strong program. Mm-hmm. And I think even the gymnasts, they were pretty much aware of that. And I think Jade saying that just meant like, okay, we we can make it happen. Like, and this change of mentality was also very, very important, you know. And
Yeah.
I think they learned a lot, learned a lot. And but for us, it was very traumatic, honestly. For the
Yeah.
fans, we were watching that like, oh my god, really? And yeah, unfortunately, Rebecca, she was recovering from her second ACL, and she also got injured in the Montreal Worlds during training. It was like, okay, I mean, is Brazil never gonna happen? Honestly, that was our thought back then, because everything was just crumbling down when it seemed like it was gonna happen. And now we have our world medals, we have our Olympic medals. For the Henan fan 20 years ago, to think that we would leave a Olympics with 4 medals, I was like, oh, you're just joking me, you know.
And and it's, people have asked me on social media, like, why do you celebrate Brazil so much? And I always say the same thing. I say, Brazil and many other programs, the talent and possibility have always been there. It's just circumstances or lack of money or funding or injuries. There's always something that stops it from happening over and over and over. And as someone who started paying attention to gymnastics around Athens, a little bit before Athens, my first Brazilian gymnast was Diane dos Santos, and ever since then I started noticing, like, oh wow, like Brazil is always like there, but there's always something going on. And so that's a big reason why I'm such a champion for Brazilian gymnastics, because the talent has always been there. It's just other things have gotten in the way.
Exactly, like 2004. I don't know if you remember Diane's routine. She was also the reason why I started watching gymnastics, to be honest.
Yeah.
And she had a two double Arabians
Yeah.
in her routine. Actually, 3 double Arabians. The double layout Arabian as the first pass, second pass, double piked Arabian, and then the double tuck Arabian as a third pass. As a no, sorry, like in 2004, she only did only.
Yeah. Yeah.
She only did the Santos 2 and the Santos 1,
Yeah.
and then she did a double layout as a third pass. Like nobody did a double layout as a third pass 20 years ago.
No.
Nobody.
No, that was unheard of.
Yeah. And unfortunately, she went out of bounds because she never actually learned how to control her skills properly. Uh, just a curiosity, I don't know if you know about this, but she started gymnastics at 11 years old.
Yeah,
And
I
she was,
do. Yeah, I do know that.
we talked with her coach here in our regular podcast in Portuguese,
Mhm.
and she just told us that like she was a powerhouse. Uh, we had a coach, an Armenian coach back in our gym. She told us that said, no, just she's too old to start gymnastics and everything, but they insisted in giving her training. And the thing with her was just learning to learn the skills, controlling the
Yeah.
skills with something else, and it shows. It shows. She also had a front layout mount on beam, but she never actually landed it properly. So she never got it named after her, but she had it, and she used to dismount out of beam with Protonova.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
She also trained the Protonova vault. Like that was how powerful she was. But
Yep.
it's just like, oh my god, if she had the same infrastructure that the girls now have, also the multidisciplinary team that the girls now have access to, she might have been like insane. She is already insane, but I don't know like what she could have been.
Yeah.
She was just like too much talent.
Yeah, her skills. I mean, it is to this day. It's crazy. I mean, it is crazy the stuff that she was able to do, especially with so little time in the sport. When most gymnasts at the elite level start when they're like 3 years old.
Yeah, and I'm remembering now in 2008 in the Beijing Olympics, she competed at Chusovitna as a first pass, and at Dos
Mhm.
Santos 2 as the second pass.
Yeah,
It's like, what the heck?
I know. It's amazing. And I'm happy that she has one world gold medal um in her career because it's the least that someone like her deserves with that level of skill. I'm happy she at least has that as recognition, which is
Yeah,
good.
yeah, me too. Like, it would be super unfair for her to retire without a significant medal, you know?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
anyways,
Yeah. Well, I'm happy that this year and last year, when it comes to the team for Brazil, I'm happy that it finally came together. The I feel like as we say, like the planets aligned, which and everything just kind of worked out finally.
yes, that was the feeling. Like, it summarizes everything, but I had to go through all these details because it was like, so much.
Yeah.
And people outside of Brazil have no idea of how much, of how difficult it is to be a Brazil walk fan.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like when you know the promise is there and it's taken away every single year. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to keep supporting that, you know. So
It was a lot of frustration during all these years, but finally everything just came together and we have a team.
yeah, and I mean, 2 years in a row, a world and Olympic medal team, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about your perspective, like for the US team right now? I actually wanted to ask you this because for the first time, we had an American team that was mostly composed by girls who had already been to the Olympics. How do you think this is going to impact like the following years? Because some of these girls are going to keep going, and some of the girls that didn't make it are going to keep going.
Oh yeah.
And you guys have this culture of renewing the team. For the first time, you had this battle between the new girls and the more experienced girls. Uh, what's your perspective for the next squad?
Well, I'm really excited for the culture to continue changing. I'm excited that we have young athletes and what we call older athletes, even though they're like 25. I'm happy that we have a variety of athletes now, and not just in the United States. I'm happy it's becoming more common around the world as well. But I know the United States for a very long time was all about the new faces. Every year it was about the new faces. Like there's only been a couple gymnasts that have gone to 2 Olympics in a row from the United States. And I'm happy to see that that's changing. I'm excited to see a lot of the girls who did not make Paris are all coming back, like Connor McLean. She's coming back in 2025 after she got injured, another U.S. injury this year. And Sky Blakely, who got injured at the 2021 Olympic trials, and then she got injured at the 2024 Olympic trials. I'm happy that she's going to come back. I mean, I like it. I like that the young gymnasts know if they don't make their first Olympics, it's not over. You can keep going. Or if you do make your first Olympics, like Hesley Rivera, she can keep going. Like there's nothing stopping her from trying for another Olympics or more world championships. So I think it's a good thing. And I think promoting healthy training, which is going to promote healthy athletes, I think that's a good thing, because people ask all the time, like, how has Simone never had major injuries? And again, it comes back to training. She's always had really smart and thoughtful coaches that knew not to burn her out. And so they paced her really, really good. Obviously, she's won 8 all-around titles and a world and Olympic level for the last like 9 years. And so, or not 9 years, like the last like 12 years. And so I think there's going to be more coaching that switches from abusing their athletes and burning them out after one Olympics. And I think we're going to see a lot of repeated athletes, which is good, because that means that there's healthier athletes. So that's my take on it. As long as the athletes are getting taken care of and their bodies and their minds are taken care of, I love that they're going to go for more than one Olympic cycle.
Yeah, and you also have another aspect is that many of these girls are going to college, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there is a whole new way of doing gymnastics in college, and a lot of girls that go to NCAA, they end up like losing a little bit of their elite skills.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is also changing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is, because Jordan Childs, she was NCAA this quad. Jade Carey was NCAA this quad. And they have both said that they're, and well, so is others. Sunisa Lee was NCAA, and a lot of them have said how NCAA helps their gymnastics because they scale back. They don't do as many skills, but that way, they're giving their body a rest, but they're also able to learn more about their gymnastics. Like, for example, Jade Carey, she said that college gymnastics helped her feel more comfortable dancing and choreography on floor. And I know people, poke fun at Jade Carey because she's not the most artistic, fluid dancer. And I don't think she would deny that. I think she knows that she's not. But college gymnastics allows these girls to really focus on that side of gymnastics without focusing on all of the like really, really challenging skills. So I think it's good. I think it works really well, in my opinion.
Yeah, and this artistry, wait, and this artistry discourse is like very hectic sometimes.
Yeah.
I agree with you that Jade improved so much in college.
Yeah.
Like,
Definitely.
I remember the Tokyo 2021 Olympics where she won gold on floor. If you compare to her 2024 performances, it's like water and wine. It's completely different, and you can see
Yeah.
that she's been working. She's been, I mean, she's not the most skillful dancer,
Mm-hmm.
but she has been working on feeling okay there. Feeling comfortable, and you can see that she
Yeah.
is showing her personality, and that's what the code of points is requiring at this moment. The girl to show her personality, to feel confidence, comfortable, and tell a story. Right. That's the definition of artistry in the code of points. And the US is not very famous for having very artistic routines.
No,
but
not.
but I really like the improvement as well. Suni had a very beautiful routine like this
Yeah.
year. The one that she showed at the Olympics was super beautiful. The first one that you mentioned that she had, I think, in championships, I thought it was like, yeah, okay, it's just like a remake of her 2019 floor music.
Yep.
Because it had some pieces, but she came with something completely different. Still like talking to her style, like Tokyo style, same artist and everything, but
Yeah.
it was like one of the best artistries in the US this year. I think Suni and Tiana are like
Yana. Yeah.
best ones from.
Oh yeah. 100. Totally. When Chilise, Sky, and Kayla all got injured, I remember telling people on my Instagram, I remember saying, okay, it's going to be Tiana or Hesley or Jocelyn. And depending on their scores and everything, that's probably going to be the 5th spot.
Yeah, I like Tiana a lot.
Yeah,
He
and
also improved so much when she moved to the World Champion Center.
yeah, and that's yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, there was between 2023 and 2024, the U.S. had so many injuries. I mean, Jocelyn got injured in 2023, and that carried into 2024. Connor McLean, obviously Shilese, Kayla, and Sky. There was just so many injuries, and even after the Olympics, Jordan Chiles said that she was injured at the beginning of 2024, and obviously Suni was coming off of her, kidney issues. So there was just a lot. There was a lot going on, and the fact that they showed so much depth at the Olympic trials was, for me, was crazy. I was stressed out the entire Olympic trials. I was stressed. I mean, the crowd and the atmosphere was fun, but like, as someone who like really, really loves a sport and like studies a sport, I was like terrified the entire time. And then Leanne Wong, she upgraded to a chung vault at Olympic trials. And during warm-ups, she did so many vaults. Like, she did vault after vault after vault, and she kept crashing or like missing her chung vault. So when she did her competition chung and she landed it, I was like terrified, because yeah. And so, but again, that's how the U.S. gymnastics works, though, is you need to peak and hit your hardest difficulty at Olympic trials just to make the Olympics, and you could feel it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and you speaking now, I just remember that we also had another injury that people don't talk about it. Caroline Pedro.
Yeah.
Did you know that she was injured? She is still injured, actually.
Yeah.
She tore the ligaments of both shoulders.
Jeez, ouch! That's horrible.
And she kept training and competing normally.
Wow.
She told us that it was right after the Troféu Brasil, that was like our trials, I'd say, like that. And she went to this training camp in Troyes, in France, before the Olympics with Team Brazil. And she told us that she felt that she had something like in both shoulders there. But she didn't want to do exams because she knew that she was going to get something diagnosed out of that.
Yeah.
And she kept going like since July. She competed also Brazilian nationals in September, and only after this Brazilian nationals that she competed for her club, she went to the doctors, took the exams, and it was confirmed that she had both shoulders injured, like no ligaments at all.
Wow.
And she was like, yeah, it happens. I'm like, oh my God, girl.
I know. Wow. Well, that's a thing. And, people, I don't know how it is in Brazil. I would love your perspective. But in the United States, the big sports is like, American football and basketball and baseball. And I respect sports and athletes. Like, I never want to bring negativity to anything. But I don't think people understand how difficult being a gymnast is. I mean, almost every athlete at the Olympics had some sort of injury that they were competing through. And it's like, and other sports, they make a very big deal about like a very small issue, whereas gymnasts are competing on like broken feet and broken toes and her shoulders and not having ligaments. And so it's really interesting that gymnastics is not a very popular sport and people don't always consider it a sport, but in reality, these athletes are so strong and are always injured. And I don't think people understand that.
No, I agree completely with this. Like, and I'm not gonna get super into details, but we had a gymnast called former gymnast Cristal Bezerra. She went to the 2021 Pan American Championships. Anyways, she just denounced her former coach. She went to this YouTube channel. This guy is a sports journalist, and she said like she was also with both both shoulders injured, and a lot of other things like that happened between them. There is a lawsuit going on right now, pretty much like Maggie Hain and
Yeah.
Riley McCusker, like a lawsuit.
Yeah.
But she mentioned this and that she was with both ligaments tore and she was competing with this. And they just made like, oh my God, like she was injured. She was. Anyways, we that know gymnastics, we know that unfortunately it happens, and the sport sometimes happen. The sport sometimes requires it because they are in such a body stress.
Yep.
Right. That many girls compete injured. Like it's the most normal thing for them to be like at a high stage with some sort of an injury.
Yeah.
We literally saw Flavia getting injured and getting stitches
I know.
in the arena, and competing in the Olympics after that and winning a medal. But also, what people don't know is that she broke a rib a few weeks before.
Wow. Yeah.
And she says like all the girls that say that they don't have a single day that they don't feel pain in something.
Which is which is amazing when you have athletes, like Jaji. I mean, honestly, the entire Brazil team, except for Julia, who's newer, like competing for so many Olympic cycles, like when they're always being in pain and like just training through it, competing through it. And that's why when people, want their favorite gymnast to keep going, it's like, I understand that because I would love for all my favorite gymnasts to compete forever. But I also tell people like they're probably so sick of being hurt and in pain that they don't want to do it anymore. And we just have to respect that.
Yeah. And also something that Flavia once said in an interview that I really keep this in mind. And it's how ungrateful is gymnastics as a sport.
Yeah.
Because she says like, oh, we train our whole lives to compete 4 minutes at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Because it's 1.5 minutes for floor, 1.5 minutes for beam, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I don't know, like depends on the routine. Bars and 10 seconds in vault. So it's even less than 4 minutes. And when I told this to a friend who is outside of the gymnastics circle, he was like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah.
But he was like, "I never thought about that." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, they just train their whole lives, 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, sometimes like 7.
Yeah.
And they don't have vacations to compete 4 minutes at the Olympics, to maybe compete 4 minutes at the Olympics. There's no other sport that has this ratio. No other sport that has this ratio.
No. And that's
why sorry, you can say.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's a big reason why, like on my social media, on my Instagram, I get messages, I get comments about people saying, and some gymnasts too, which is really fun, saying like, I love how positive your account is. And I always say the same thing. I'm like, because this sport is so unforgiving. You give up your whole life, your body hurts, and then you train, or then you compete maybe for a couple minutes in a competition. And I'm never going to be someone who just like speaks negatively about these athletes, because what they have to do to get to the Olympics or even not get to the Olympics is so unfair. And to speak negatively about like maybe someone fell or maybe someone, did something wrong. It's like, I don't know. I think I have an issue with when people really, really criticize gymnasts when it comes to competition. Like, you can have your opinions on, who should have won, whatever, but to criticize them, I don't like to do that, because they only get a couple minutes to compete at the highest level of their career, which is so unfair.
Exactly, you just said everything, and I don't know, just like when you think about it, it's just insane, because it's the worst ratio ever. If you have a football player, for example, if they go to the World Cup, they have like a handful amount of games that they can be part of for 90 minutes, or volleyball play as well. But gymnastics, it's only qualifications, less than 4 minutes, and you're done.
Yeah, yeah.
We had an interview with Zoya Seke from Hungary, and I don't know if you are up to date with her path to the Olympics, but it was like a roller coaster. She didn't get her spot in 2023 because of an FIG mistake.
Yep. Yep.
And she was also kind of relegated by the Hungarian Gymnastics Federation. And she got to the Olympics like last minute, really, really, really last minute. And she went there just to compete bars because she was replacing Zofia Kovacs, who was registered just for bars. So she couldn't just register for the other to
Yeah.
the other events as well. So she competed only bars.
Wow.
So all her whole life for 20 seconds.
Which is just like, it's just, yeah, this is a really unforgiving sport. And Flavia saying that is yeah, I mean, it's good that she brings that up because it's true. They train for their whole life for a couple minutes if they're lucky.
Yeah, and this she said this a few years ago. I'm not sure like which year, but I think it was leading up to the Rio Olympics. So it has like some time.
Yeah.
And I never forgot that. Never forgot that. I always kept that in my mind, and I was like, damn, these girls are really like superheroes, I would say. And
Yeah.
all the respect, honestly, to all of them.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And that's why for me, as a huge fan of the sport, I'll never bash a gymnast or speak super negatively, because they're just trying to achieve their dream of 4 minutes of competition. So,
and that also enters in the another discussion, very heated discussion actually,
yeah.
of nationality changes.
Yeah, I know there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and people don't understand that they work their whole life, and if someone offers them a chance to try to chase their dreams, they're gonna say yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And anyways, it was sometimes people just don't. People actually criticize without even trying to understand the other side. So
yeah, well, that's a big discussion in the United States, because a lot of U.S. gymnasts do switch their nationality to give themselves a better chance, because to make a U.S. gymnastics team right now is one of the hardest teams to make in the world, in my opinion. And if they can increase their chances, of course they're going to do it. Or even Kaylee Namor switching from France to better her chances and to be coached in a way that she worked with her, but look what happened. She's an Olympic champion now,
Exactly. And France also lost her young sister, to Algeria. She also decided to switch nationalities. And the coach says that in 2028, they're going to have 2 Algerians in the podium. Because he says that she's pretty much Kenya 2.0. I'm still like waiting to see if that's actually true, because that's a strong statement to say she's Kenya 2.0.
Yeah, because Kaylee Namor, I mean, people of course know her on even bars. I mean, we all do. It's insane, and I could watch it all day. But Kaylee Namor is a major all around contender. I mean, she's right there. She's fantastic on almost all the events, and so if her sister is at that level as well, like, that's going to be a really, really great competition to see.
Yeah, and she just came with a double twist in Yurchenko just out of nowhere. This Paris Olympics. I wasn't expecting that, because I saw her some training clips, of her trying the D2Y, and it
Yep.
wasn't any close to be like good.
Yep. And
And out of the blue, she was just like landing there. We're like, oh my god, this girl, she's gonna come for Rebecca's medal. Oh my god.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's the beauty of sports like gymnastics is like there's so many different ways that people can change their gymnastics to try to better their chances of getting a medal. Like you have 4 events and there's a lot of strategy, a lot of timing involved. And that again, and I love that aspect of gymnastics. Like what upgrade is worth it and like what upgrade will actually lose us points and like finding that perfect balance, and I think athletes like Simone Biles, like Rebecca Andrade, like Sunisa Lee and many other gymnasts. I think that's what makes them so successful is they know which upgrades are worth it, which upgrades are not worth it. So, there's a lot of strategy, which I love.
Yeah, I like to say that gymnastics is mathematics.
Yeah, it is.
It's not even like flips anymore. It's mathematics.
Yeah.
So sometimes if you downgrade a skill that you do better, you get a better score than actually trying to upgrade just for getting extra points but losing more in execution, which is Rebecca's case for unfortunately.
Yeah.
She ended up still with gold in Paris, but she put that golden
Yeah.
that wasn't it, honestly.
Yeah, I was surprised. So yeah, going to the Olympics, we should talk about Paris. Yeah, I was surprised to see her keep that skill in floor final. I mean, it worked out, which I'm happy it did. Actually, it's funny if you watch back the floor final when Rebecca finishes her floor, it shows the audience and it just like zooms, it like slowly zooms up on me, and I'm just like standing and screaming. So it's actually kind of funny to see that. But um, I was surprised to see her keep that skill in floor final. I thought she would get rid of it.
Yeah, a lot of people thought she would get rid of it, me included.
Yeah,
But we know from insiders that it was her decision to
yeah,
keep the golden. It was her decision to do 4 passes.
yep,
Pretty much like Rebecca, she has a lot of saying in her routines, constructions.
yeah. Well, and that's good because so Charlize Jones' coach, did an interview, and she said a lot of people reach out to her and ask her like, why is Charlize doing this or why is Charlize doing that? And she said, you guys as fans have to remember we're training adult women. They can choose what they want to do. Like coaches can make suggestions or ideas, but it's the gymnast's final say because it's their competition, it's their career. So now talking about Rebecca, like that makes total sense because Rebecca's, if I remember, I think she's like 25. And so she's a woman who's been doing gymnastics for her whole life. She should have the say of what she competes. And if she does something that does not win her a medal, but she wants to do it, then fine. But that's better than a coach forcing Rebecca or any athlete to do or not do skills because it should be, in my opinion, it should be up to them.
Yeah, it is. I completely agree. She is indeed 25 and she does gymnastics since she's 4. So she's been in the sport for 21 years.
Yeah.
Like, so she knows a little bit about gymnastics and her body, of course, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it was up to her. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad it worked out in the end. But we're like, ugh, oh my god. But actually, the golden skill was very problematic, right?
Yeah. Yes, it was. I feel like I feel like that whole day and being in the arena that day, that was the only day where it felt horrible. Which don't not like Rebecca winning. No. Like the people who won, that was all great. But like the competition was a not a great day.
Yeah, Beam was absolutely insane. Like
Yeah.
it was like,
Well,
what's going on with this Beam?
when I
It's
kept
Jimmy,
telling,
it's Jimmy Nova, of course. It's
yeah,
gonna be bad, but I
yeah.
wasn't expecting that bad, you know?
when I kept telling people around me, so I was sitting close to beam on the beam final day, and which was super lucky because you have different seats every day. And I kept telling people we need to cheer for these athletes. They are used to noise, and like all of them are used to noise. They don't train or compete in dead silence. And people were it was hard because the Olympic audience had no idea about gymnastics. The people who went, the majority of people who were in that arena were not gymnastics super fans. They were people who had maybe a ticket to the Olympics. They got like one ticket to gymnastics, or they were just there for the experience. And so like people around me kept saying like, oh, we shouldn't cheer? It's going to distract them. And I kept explaining like, no, it doesn't distract them. They need noise. It was dead silent in that arena. Like all you could hear is people coughing. And it was so awkward sitting there. I can't even tell you how awkward it was.
Like I don't remember who exactly, but there were gymnasts complaining about the silence.
Yeah. I mean, even so I was sitting so close to the balance beam, you could hear, I mean, Simone, she was cheering for almost, and if you watch it back, you can hear Simone cheering in the background for all of them. And people asked after, like, why were you cheering? And Simone was like, we need noise. Like none of us are used to this level of silence. And even I think her and Rebecca even like laughed about it because it's like, it was so quiet. I mean, you could hear every single noise that they were making on the balance beam. It was weird.
It's fun, even funnier because Rebecca and Julia, they both were in that final.
Yeah.
They used to compete in Brazil, and we are super noisy. Like,
Yeah. Yes. Like if you go to like Olympic trials this year, like the 2024 Olympic trials was so loud. I mean, it was insanely loud. And like, yeah, so it was not a good environment. And then right after balance beam was high bar, and like all the guys fell except for I think two. And anyways, it was, and then obviously the floor final, which was great. Rebecca won, rightfully so. But then of course, everything that happened with the bronze medal afterwards is unfortunate.
yeah, and this is still going on, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's super sad that Jordan went through all of that. Also Anna and also
Yeah.
Sabrina.
Yeah,
I
I
think
know.
like Sabrina just got an out of bounds deduction that simply didn't happen.
I know.
And if we came back and corrected everything that could have been corrected, she would get bronze straight away.
Yeah, I know. It was,
And it's like, damn, all
yeah,
this drama.
it was a lot. And I'm happy that, Rebecca won. I'm happy that Simone got silver, and, even Simone online was like, no, that was not my best floor. And like, that's okay. I'm tired. I'm tired. This is the last day. And, I'm happy that they had another medal, but yeah, it is still going on. Jordan has a whole legal team. So I think we're going to be hearing about it for the next year. So we'll see.
Yeah, I also think because even Sabrina and Camelia, actually it was Camelia who posted this, that they are gonna fight for their rights because they know their rights. So this bronze medal is still gonna be like under discussion until the Los Angeles Olympics, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, and not to be controversial, but I was when I saw qualifications, I did not think that Ana Barbosu was going to qualify to floor finals. I thought, and this isn't because she's Brazilian, and when I went to the Olympics, I said I want the US and Brazil to win as much as possible. But I really thought Julia was going to be in the floor final. I still think she should have been. I know I can't change the past, but I was a little bit salty about that, if I'm honest.
Yeah, we as well because Julia she had a very nice routine, but he was underscored definitely. He was underscored definitely.
Yes.
And also Jade, she had a bad landing in her part full in. But had she landed that right, I think she would have gotten that final because she was scoring 13.8 internationally this year. She
Oh, okay.
won. She won the Antalya World Cup with 13.8.
Gotcha. Yeah. That was fun. Qualifications were a long day. Because I was at all of the different sessions, and it was nice because when France had their qualification, the whole arena was so sad, and like the French team just were crying the whole time, and that was really, really, really hard to see. And then when Brazil was last in the last section of qualifications, and it was like it turned into a party, and everyone was happy again. It was awesome. Like qualifications was super fun. Like US, I was having like a panic attack the entire US qualification, but Brazil ended it on with a party. It was really fun.
Yeah, and I'm trying to catch the exact results, but Flavia, she got a 13.166 on floor. I just got it. But she had a 0.3 out of bounds deduction with a 0.3 hop on her double tuck, which is a very problematic. We hate the double tuck here, but had she done it right, she would have been that final as well.
Yeah. Well,
it was so open.
Yes, and Flavia's balance beam routine was so perfect, obviously, until she fell, but it was one of her best routines other than the fall. Because I was sitting by, and for that qualification, I was sitting by balance beam and vault, and I was so sure that Flavia was going to get into balance beam finals, and it was so hard to see her fall, but she was smiling. I mean, she took it with, with happiness,
Yeah, I mean, she had no choice, but
Yep, I know.
Yes, it it was a very unfortunate fall. It was. And I really think that if she was in that final, she could have medaled. And I think knowing Flavia, knowing her, I think she still has that in mind, and she's gonna come back stronger for that. She's hungry for that B medal. I can tell you.
Oh yeah, and well, she should be. She's one of the best, and that's just a fact.
Yeah, this year, for our podcast, with our podcast, I was able to go to two training camps, national training camps, attending there. I managed to talk to Flavia, Rebecca, Jade, all the girls, and even the girls that were not in the run for the Olympics. They were just training. And the environment was very confident for the first time. And Flavia, I saw her training a Chuzovitna. It was beautiful, 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 beautiful. But she injured her ribs, and that's why she didn't go full difficulty in Paris. Also, she is not training, is not ready yet. It's not near to be ready, but she's also intending to go for an Amanar.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, she was training. I saw this. I saw that in person. That she was training that landing. How to say when you land, but turning immediately.
Yep. Yeah.
She was doing a double twist in Yurchenko, but turning on the floor, just training to land it frontwards. Okay. And train the blind landing actually. But anyways, she told me that she is intending to train the MNR more often and in the future. And she is eager for this beam medal, but I think she is also trying to get an all-around medal anytime soon. And I'm excited about that.
Me too, because she is such a strong all-around gymnast. I mean, even seeing her in the all-around competition in Paris, I know she fell on floor, but other than that, I mean, she looked fantastic. Like the whole vault, I mean, her balance beam was incredible. Her bars were solid, and if without that fall on floor, I mean, she was great. I could see it.
Yeah, and without that bottom floor, I think she would give some pressure. She would put some pressure for bronze as well in the all
Oh
around.
yeah, oh yeah, 100%. That was
Because Suni won, but she got a 54 something. It wasn't that much.
no,
Um,
her beam was pretty rough. Okay,
yeah,
well, not rough like that. Let me rephrase that. Suni had the weakest beam during all around, except other than event final. But so that was after beam. I didn't know if Suni could do it, so but she did. But Flavia could definitely put pressure.
because I'm checking the results here. Suni qualified with a 56.132, and Jordan got a 56.065.
Yeah, it was really close.
Yeah, and there was like a lot of discussions also with Suni's out of bounds on vault, and
Yeah,
also like the her dismount on beam. But anyways, like they credited, and she managed to get this medal like in the end. But uh, Flavia, she qualified with 54.199
wow, yeah,
with the fall
yeah,
on beam,
exactly. With the fall.
and also the issues on floor that we just commented. But
Yeah,
she could pretty much like score mid 54.
yeah. I mean, that's a thing. Like Flavia is one of those athletes where it's going to have to take like everything falling in place for her to win. There's some athletes where they have some room to make errors, but Flavia is one where when she hits all of her routines, she could be there. Like her team final in Antwerp for 2023, if she did those routines in an all around, she would be super competitive.
Yes, exactly. Like and she also went through surgery right now in her
Yeah.
shoulder.
Yep.
She said that she's not coming back until the second semester next year. So I don't know if she's gonna go. I think she's gonna go to Worlds to be honest. But I don't think she is going as an all-arounder. But anyways, I think she's gonna try to catch that beam medal next year.
Yeah.
I think the field is gonna be ideal for her. You know.
Yeah, I think so too. And with all the changes that are going to be happening at the 2025 Worlds, I think she has a good chance. And if she is healthy enough to compete, or sorry, if she's healthy enough to train just one event, then yeah, I think that'd be great. Just have her train beam, really, really perfect her beam, and then yeah, send her and see what happens.
Exactly. And just a very early bid. Who do you think is gonna make the US 2025 Worlds team?
I would have to look at, because that's the thing with the U.S. team, or like the U.S. team. Um, People don't even start talking about like trying to go until competition season starts. So like until Winter Cup and Classic start rolling around, I don't really have a lot of predictions because I don't know who's all really trying for it. Like I know there's been a lot of talk. Like there's been talk of Connor McLean's coming back, Hesley Rivera's coming back like right away. There's been talk of Shilese Jones if she's healthy. So right now, I don't have a prediction because I don't know who's healthy, who's going for it, who's going to college for the year. So when those names start rolling out, then I think I'll have a better idea. Because right now, a lot of the girls are keeping it pretty close to themselves and quiet. So
Yeah, it's like smart. It's a smart move.
yeah, and so, but yeah, I am curious to see how it turns out because unless something changes in my life, I am not planning on going to the 2025 Worlds because of work and money. And so,
Yeah,
um,
it's literally like Indonesia, the other side
yeah,
of the world. So
yes, it's quite far, and this year was a lot of gymnastics. So So yeah, next year's I'm gonna be watching from my computer or TV screen. Other than what's in the United States, I'll go to that probably. But do you have a favorite competition at Paris, like all around team, like event final? Like what's some Paris highlights for you?
For me, I actually I love the qualifications
Yeah,
because I spent the whole day watching gymnastics. I was like mentally exhausted after qualification because I watched
yeah,
everything.
yes,
But I really like how Romania uh, competed in the first subdivisions, and
yep,
they were about to be out of the of team finals, but Sabrina Voinia, she just delivered a very solid beam routine,
yeah,
and also they actually managed to have enough points on bars to qualify because they were like the 12th
yep,
team on bars. They were like the worst. But it's Romania, so
yeah,
expected. But
yes,
on beam, Sabrina, she just posted a 14 points, and they got the fifth best score in this event, and also on floor they got the fourth best score with two finalists, right? We
yeah,
had both Ana Barboso and also Sabrina Voinia in the event finals. So I really like this Romania team. Really like them. I know that they're not the most competitive team that they could have at this moment. We had also Maria Czeplinski, who got injured recently. She had a beautiful floor that I'm sure that if she had performed that floor at the Olympics, she could also potentially get this event final spot. I mean, I just love how they reinvented themselves and competed super well at the qualifications, despite all the trust issues that they have.
yeah. Yeah, Romania. I mean, like we talked about at the beginning of this episode, Romania's had such a long history in gymnastics, like highs and more recently a lot of lows. So yeah, I would agree. I mean, everything you said, I would agree with, and just having them there, having them in team finals, having them be competitive. It was really nice to see because they've produced some of the best gymnastics in like the history of the sport. So it's good to see them coming back.
Yeah, I also liked Great Britain because they
I
literally
know.
lost an entire team.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
lost Onzin, they lost Jessica, they lost Jennifer,
I know.
and they still managed to place fourth in team finals at the Olympics.
When I thought, I mean, for a minute, I thought they got third. I mean, there was in the arena, there was a lot of confusion on who got third because after the UK finished on balance beam, Brazil was already done. They finished on vault in team finals, and so in balance beam for a second, everyone around me thought it was the UK got third, or was like at the time they were like in first place, but it was before Italy and the US were done. And so everyone's like, oh, the UK got third. And then even the UK team were like crying because I think they thought they got it. And then they realized like, oh no, Brazil got it. So then it was really interesting being there. It was kind of hard to follow, but it was I'm really, really proud of that team for coming back so
Me,
strong.
me too. And I think the confusion was that Italy's score wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
Andreoli was the last one, I think.
Yep. Andrade was
And
last.
if you check the footage, you're gonna see Jaji like on the floor just texting something,
Yeah.
and we know exactly what she was texting because the person posted the screenshot.
Oh, I love
Um, it was like, "Hey, do you know this girl, the British girl? How well does she score normally?"
yeah.
She
I
was
love
so nervous, and she also said that in an interview that she was texting that. So, but the screenshot after the interview just became public because the person posted,
yeah. I wish.
and it became a meme in Brazil.
I love that.
Everything becomes a meme in Brazil, to be honest. But
Yeah.
Uh,
You have to have a good sense of humor, which is good. Well, because I think
yeah.
was it Becky Downey? Was she the last one to go on beam?
Oh no,
Or
no. It was Alice Kinsella
okay, that was I couldn't remember if it was her or Alice. Yes. Yep. Because
It
it
was
was
Kinsella.
I mean, when you're there in not just the Olympics, but when you're in a team final in person, it's almost hard. Like on TV or like a stream, they kind of show you what you need to pay attention to. But when you're in the arena, you're trying to like put it all together and so a lot of us were like, because I was sitting by almost the whole time. There was some Brazil fans were by me, and it was fun. And they were like, did they do it? Did the Brazil win or not? And I was like, I don't know. And then I finally looked. I'm like, oh no, they did do it, and that was really exciting because then everyone just started screaming. But yeah,
And like, don't get me wrong, I love that Brazil got this bronze medal, but it was so stressful all the
yeah,
time.
yeah, it
Ah, I
was.
can't.
It was. I mean, vault. Jaji's vault. She went out and Julia fell on balance beam, and yeah, there was about halfway through. I was like, I don't know if they can do it just mathematically unless other teams start
Yeah,
falling. But yeah, it was close, wasn't it? Only like 2 or 3 tenths.
I remember that I was watching and I was holding a bottle of water, but I was pressing the bottle so
Yeah,
squeezing so much, and I was like,
yeah,
oh. And I could only release it when the routine was over, and it was with every single routine in that final. So I
yeah,
can't say that team finals was my favorite competition
yeah.
because I was super stressed out.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, I like the outcome.
Oh, for sure. Well, I was messaging Samuel from the whole time because he was going live and I was messaging him and he was yeah, we were both like freaking out like in the messaging because I'm like because halfway through I was like I don't know if they can do it and he was like yeah, I don't know either. And so it was
Yeah,
it was really stressful.
it was a general feeling here as well. I can say that I like the 2023 World's Team Finals much better than the Olympic final.
Yes. Well, do you want
I could like enjoy much more, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because 2023 was just I mean, Brazil was what we call just kind of steamrolled, just got right through the competition, no drama. It was all
Yeah,
good.
and actually, like these team finals started with the drama already because it started on bars and we started with Flavia falling,
I know.
and
Yeah, because I messaged Samuel again and I was like, is she injured? Like because I saw her fall like live because I love warm-ups because like warm-ups tell the story of what the athletes are going to compete. And so I was watching her warm up bars and I saw the fall and I messaged him and some other friends. Shout out to my gymnastics nerd group chat that I have. And I was messaging all the people back home in Samuel and I said, hey, I can't see Flavia anymore. Are they showing her on TV? Is she out? What happened? And that was so stressful. I was like, no way is this happening.
because if Flavia were out, it would be the end for us, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Lohani, she doesn't do floor, she doesn't
Yep.
do beam. She was only training vault and bars.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know about it or like the people who are listening to us in this episode. But Lohani, she doesn't have fat in her feet anymore.
Wow.
She has been through so many surgical
Wow.
interventions that she has no fat. So she has to do like the boot with the wrap and everything. She has to be like really really wrapped, and she has a chronic injury there. You know, she
Wow.
tried so much to like fix it that right now she doesn't have fat anymore, and when she lands pretty much on the bone.
Wow. That is, and
And
again, going back to our conversation about how strong gymnasts are, like that is an example of like, look at what she's gone. I mean, yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, and we knew that we couldn't count on her for beam or floor.
Yeah.
She literally like didn't do this event,
Yeah.
and we would have Jade. both on beam and floor.
Yeah.
And we know that Jaji, her body is not like the same as it was, and she's amazing, but she's not the most. The word, oh my god, my English is like fading away right now. It's like she's not the most okay, but she's not the most consistent.
Yeah.
Being on or on floor. Like she was already having some issues on floor during qualifications. Her vault, she only completed vault. You know that it wasn't super good, and she got injured a lot of times. So we preferred to count on her only for vault. If we lost Flavia, we'd be like, oh my god, it's gone.
Yeah.
So it was very stressful. I'm not gonna lie, like it was super stressful. I couldn't enjoy that much.
No, that's fair, because it, like, when things start, because that's again another thing with sports is you don't know everything until the competition starts. And so with gymnastics, like, you don't know, like, oh, in the back gym someone got injured, like, like she can't do this skill anymore because of this. Like, you don't know until a competition starts. And so when it starts, it's finally like, oh crap, like we lost Flavia, now this happens. And team finals was a long competition.
And just another like click that came to our mind was because it happened in the first rotation. And the last time a gymnast got injured in the first rotation for us, it was hell, 2019.
Yep.
So all these movies come to our minds. I'm saying it's not easy to be a Brazilian gymnastics fan. It's a job.
And I was about to say, it's a job you need to be dedicated to.
Yes.
Yeah,
and it's, I mean, but the one that I liked more, I think, was all around.
Final. All around was fun. That was a fun competition. You could feel, like, in the arena, you could feel like, okay, which one is going to win? And I know people asked me my opinion and who I thought was going to win before it started. And I said, I'm like, well, Simone Biles will probably win. I mean, she has like 2.5 points of difficulty advantage, but anything can happen. And that's the beauty of gymnastics, is that anything can happen. And
it almost happened.
I know.
I know. Yeah, sorry, I'm cutting up.
Oh no, it's okay. I was on the higher seats, like in the arena there was lower and higher seats, and I was in a higher seat by bars. And so I was texting my gymnastics group chat of friends that I've met that are also gymnastics fans. And so I was on the side of bars. As soon as Simone released to do her pack, I told the person next to me, and the person next to me was someone from Brazil. I was like, she's going to fall, because she released so early. And if you were not on the side, you couldn't tell until she bent her legs. But I thought she was going to fall. I mean, when people say Simone's like the greatest, it's not just because of like her skills, which is a big part. It's her speed of recovering from an error is insane. Like, the fact that she pulled that off without falling is insane, to me at least. Like, she reacted so quick, and then she got back on track, stuck the dismount, and I was like, oh man, this is going to be intense.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was like, oh my god, is this happening? I mean, is she off? Is she nervous? And then she stuck cold the dismount. I was like, no, she's not nervous. She just missed. And she's going to come back to the rest of the competition super focused, and because she is probably pissed at herself for making that mistake.
Well, and when
that's what she did.
And everyone who's followed Simone for her career, everyone knows, like, when Simone gets angry, she has her best gymnastics. And so when she went to balance beam, because Simone was the first on balance beam, and the whole audience was like on the edge of their seats. Like we all were like, okay, like it's going to come down to balance beam, what's going to happen. And like everyone was like, I mean, the whole world stopped. I mean, it was as if the entire world just stopped. It was crazy.
For the first time ever, she was second, leading up to the third rotation.
Yeah, no, she was third. She was behind Kaylee Namor
Third?
and yeah.
Oh yes, yes, second rotation, Killian Moore, and for the first time ever. And she even said like later in an interview that she's not used to be in this position. Like,
yeah, and I mean, as soon as she landed her balance beam, I'm like, okay, I don't see a way that she loses unless something crazy happens on floor. But I was nervous for because Rebecca was last on balance beam, and I was like, God, she has to wait so long to go after bars, and she had to wait all the way to the end to go on balance beam. And there was 2 moments that I thought Rebecca was off. I mean, she had that one moment where her leg went up, and I was like, no, don't fall. I was like, don't fall. Like, I mean, so that was balance beam was so stressful during all around.
yes, it's just like I don't know. For us, every competition, every meet is stressful.
Yeah,
but at least like for the first time after this team finals, for the first time, I just felt some calmness because I knew that Rebecca was gonna medal, like pretty much in every final that she was in. Not because I was like, yeah, it's already like set in stone and everything. It's just because I could feel her readiness, and I could feel her I don't know, the concentration and everything. Even though she makes some mistakes sometimes, uh, in the all around, for example, like okay, she went through the first and the second one, even though she had a major wobble on beam, she is still gonna medal somehow. Like,
yeah, oh yeah. When there was,
I don't.
I mean, there was. Oh, I'm sorry, you cut out. I didn't know you were talking. Go ahead.
No, it's just like my feeling was that I don't know what color is gonna be her medal, but I know she's gonna be in that podium.
Yeah,
And that happened with all the finals she was in.
yeah, which is nice. Like that's the advantage of having athletes like Simone and Rebecca. Like when you just go into the competition, like yeah, it's gonna be fine because they're so prepared and they're so talented, and
That's it.
yeah, it is nice, and it was nice to see because sometimes in gymnastics people think like, oh, these are the favorites, but then the competition starts and then they don't do that well. It was nice to see all the momentum of Simone and Rebecca coming into the Olympics, and I'm happy that they both delivered, and not for the fans, like not for me, who cares about me, but like for themselves. Like I'm really really happy that they were able to get through the pressure of being like the 2 big faces of the Olympics when it comes to gymnastics.
Yes, and more than that, like I think everyone, not only fans, were expecting this big battle between Biles and Rebecca at her best.
Yeah.
And we luckily had that for 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because those were 2 very fun all around finals to watch.
Yes. Yeah, it was, and yeah, being there, and I don't know how many people, not many people know this about me personally, but I work multiple jobs, and that's kind of how I've been able to travel to see these competitions. And I feel like extremely lucky that I was able to see both of these all around finals because they were both just incredible. Like this might sound weird to people out there. And if you've made it this far into this podcast, going to 2023 Worlds and 2024 Olympics, I actually prefer World Championships more than the Olympics. Even being there, like Worlds was much more fun. It was a much better atmosphere, and like the athletes seem a lot more like at ease. And the Olympics was just a whole different feeling. And so it was cool to experience both of them because they both were just incredible in both competitions.
Yeah, I want to go like to a world championships like to watch. I have been only to the DTB Pokal in Germany and also
Yeah, yeah,
a few other smaller meets like the Brno Grand Prix that happened actually like last week. But I went to
mhm,
2019 and I managed to meet Brody Malone that who was competing there.
yeah.
I'm super happy with his growth as a
Yep.
gymnast as well and his comeback. Also, Akash Modi,
Oh
he
yeah. Yep.
also was at Stanford, and David Jessen, he competed for Czech Republic, right? He went to the Tokyo and Rio Olympics, but it was super fun that I didn't know back then that he was Narichna's son.
Yeah.
And in the beginning of the meet, it was super accidental for me to go to that meet, but um, they were just like talking something in Czech, and there was this lady that raised in the audience, and everybody was clapping towards her. She was like waving at people. I just like clapped back, but she was maybe 3 or 4 people like by my side, and but I didn't know who she was. Like I didn't understand what they said. Then after the competition, after like digging into the gymnasts, I realized that it was Hannah Richnas.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I was like, oh my God, I could have taken a picture with her because I love
Oh
her.
yeah. Well, you have at least one friend who will happily go to a worlds, and we can cheer all of them on together. Well, so as we wrap this up, what's your final thoughts on the 2024 like season of gymnastics, like in general? Like, what are your final thoughts?
I think it was really like amazing, and a lot of things happened this year since I started the podcast in the end of last year, 2023. We've been reporting a lot about world gymnastics of what's going on, and a lot happens, a lot more than people actually realize.
Yeah.
And it's been a pleasure to be part of all this, and it was a pleasure also to see the coronation of all this drama that we love called gymnastics in Paris.
I think this Olympic quad was really, I'm biased. The teams, I should say it like this. The teams that I typically enjoy watching the most are, China, Japan, US, Ukraine, like and the UK on the men's side, and the women's side, obviously US, Brazil, Great Britain, Italy, and all the teams that I always enjoy watching, they had great Olympic quads since Tokyo. So I feel like for me, it's been such a great quad. I feel very spoiled that the US and Brazil especially had so many successes this quad because they're my two favorite teams by far. And if you follow me on Instagram, you could probably tell that. And so yeah, this year was, I feel like it was just such a celebration of a year for these teams. And it was cool to see so many storylines kind of finish up. Like Rebecca has all these injuries, and she now is, the record holder for Olympic medals for Brazil, and Simone Biles, has just made even more history for Simone Biles, and Sunisa Lee came back, and so many teams won that normally don't win in this quad. So for me, I feel like 2024 is one of the best gymnastics years for me personally. And I like going into the next quad feeling good and not feeling like dread like I have at previous Olympic quads. So I feel really good. Even though I know some people are like, oh my gosh, it's boring. Simone wins all the time. And I get that too. But I'm happy that a lot of amazing gymnasts finally have medals that they've deserved a long time ago. So those are my final thoughts. And yeah, being on social media, you talked about this podcast, being on social media. I randomly started my account like a year and a half ago, and I never thought I'd be on a podcast. I never thought I'd be talking to anybody, but no one in my life cares about gymnastics, so I had to find my people. So it's been a wild year of things I never thought would happen. So yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts.
Amazing. We are going to start working more closely now with
Yeah.
more RodaTalks episodes. more interviews to come. So,
Yeah,
guys,
I'm excited.
and follow us in our socials at Axel Lips for Call,
Mhm.
and for us at Roda de Ginástica Pod. Okay, it's in Portuguese, but
That's
we're
okay.
gonna link like our socials there and to this episode as well, and follow us because we're gonna have more content in English as well. So stay tuned.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate you letting me come on the podcast. It's been fun to, we've talked this year. It's been fun to talk to people around the world with different perspectives of gymnastics. So yeah, I just appreciate it and follow along my Instagram. Like was already said, is Axel_leaps, and yeah, more to come. I'm excited for interviews. So yeah, thanks for having me.